She was just a cleaner trying to get to work. One splash of mud changed her life. The woman who mocked her had no idea someone powerful was watching. It was a cold, quiet morning. The sky was grey, and the road was still wet from last night's rain. Emma, a young woman in her early 20s, walked carefully along the roadside, holding her small bag of breakfast and a pair of old cleaning gloves. Her uniform was clean but worn out, and her shoes were almost giving way. Still, she walked with purpose. She didn't want to be late for her cleaning job at Crownsville Towers. As she neared the main road, she heard the loud roar of a car engine. A shiny white SUV was speeding towards her. Before she could step away, the tires hit a deep puddle. In one awful moment, muddy water splashed all over her. Her face, her clothes, her bag, everything was soaked and dirty. The SUV didn't stop. Instead, the tinted window rolled down just enough to show a well-dressed woman laughing. Her lipstick was bright red, and she wore huge sunglasses. "Watch where you stand next time," she shouted before zooming off. Emma stood there in shock. Her lips trembled, her eyes burned, but she didn't cry. She just picked up her muddy bag and continued walking. From across the street, a black car sat quietly. Inside was a man named Ethan, a silent observer. He had watched the entire thing happen, the splash, the laugh, the shame on Emma's face. Ethan's eyes narrowed. He knew the rich lady, Vanessa. She was famous for her fashion line and her pride. But what she didn't know was that today her actions had been witnessed by someone who didn't believe in letting people suffer silently. He picked up his phone. "Find out who that girl is," he said calmly. "I want to know everything." Emma arrived at Crownsville Towers looking like a storm had passed over her. Her once clean uniform now had brown stains, her hair stuck to her face, and her shoes squished with every step. As she stepped into the side entrance, her supervisor, Mr. Clark, frowned. "Emma, you're late, and what is this mess?" He backed. She lowered her eyes. "I was splashed by a car. I tried to clean up, but no excuses," he snapped. "Get to work. This place needs to be spotless before the guests arrive." Emma nodded and walked toward the cleaning closet. Her coworkers glanced at her, some shook their heads in pity, but no one spoke, no one helped. She changed into an old backup uniform, tied her hair up, and got to cleaning like nothing had happened. But inside, Emma was hurting. She thought of her little sister back at home, still sleeping in their one-room apartment. She thought of the job she couldn't afford to lose. So, she pushed through. Meanwhile, Ethan sat in his office, a tall glass building downtown. He wasn't just any man, he was one of the city's youngest CEOs, a quiet billionaire who preferred to observe than talk. His assistant brought in the file he requested. Her name is Emma Davis, age 23. Works 2 cleaning jobs, lives in West Pine, takes care of her younger sister. Mother passed away 2 years ago. Ethan stared at the photo attached to the file, Emma smiling gently beside a small child. He tapped the photo lightly. "She didn't deserve that," he muttered. His assistant raised an eyebrow. "Do you want me to do something?" Ethan looked up. "Yes, but not yet. Let's watch a little more." Vanessa Johnson stood in front of a mirror inside her luxury penthouse, adjusting her gold necklace. Her phone buzzed non-stop, messages from fans, stylists, and brand partners. She was one of the city's most followed fashion influencers and the daughter of a real estate mogul. She smiled at her reflection, proud and perfect. "That girl was standing too close to the road," she said, sipping her green smoothie. "She should be grateful I didn't drive over her toes." Her assistant, Casey, gave a nervous chuckle. "Yeah, sure." Vanessa never looked back. She believed life was about winners and losers, and she was born to win. But across town, Emma's day was dragging. Every time she bent down to mop or dust, her back arched. Still, she kept her chin up and whispered small prayers to herself. One more day, Just get through today. Around noon, she went behind the building to eat her small lunch, a piece of bread and bottled water. She sat alone on a crate, her fingers trembling as she unwrapped the food. Then, a man walked past the hotel entrance and stopped. It was Ethan, dressed casually, wearing a cap and sunglasses. He pretended to check his phone, but his eyes were on her. He saw how gently she ate, how she checked her phone for any missed call, probably from her sister. There was no makeup, no glamour, just a young woman whom life kept pushing down but who kept standing anyway. Ethan's chest tightened. He didn't know her, but something about Emma reminded him of his late mother, strong, quiet, and never asking for help. He walked away slowly, but a plan was already forming in his mind. She doesn't know it yet, he thought, but her story is about to change. The next morning, Emma woke up early as usual. She tied her sister Olivia's shoelaces, packed her lunch, and kissed her forehead. Be good at school, okay? Olivia nodded, smiling. You too, Emmy. Emma took the long bus ride to Crownsville Towers, still wearing her backup uniform. The stains from yesterday's splash were still on her only good one, soaking in a bucket at home. When she arrived, something strange happened. Inside her locker was a small paper bag. Inside the bag was a pair of new gloves, a warm sandwich wrapped in foil, and a folded note, for the girl who walks with grace, even when the world is unkind. Emma blinked. She looked around, but no one seemed to notice. She opened the sandwich slowly. It was fresh, still warm. She hadn't had a hot breakfast in weeks. She didn't know who left it, but for the first time in a long while, she smiled. Far away in his office, Ethan looked through the hotel's internal camera feed, one he had legal access to thanks to a security partnership. He watched her reaction and nodded to himself. Small steps, he whispered. Meanwhile, Vanessa was on a talk show talking about her latest designer bag. The host praised her elegance, and she smiled for the cameras like nothing in the world could touch her. But the moment the show ended, Vanessa snapped at her team. My coffee was too cold. Fire the new girl. No one dared speak back. That was Vanessa's word, cold, sharp, and filled with masks. But things were changing. That evening, Ethan made another call. I want her promoted, he said to the hotel's regional manager. Find a way, quietly. The manager hesitated. She's just a cleaner. Ethan's voice turned firm. She's not just anything. Emma was sweeping the hotel's grand lobby when the head supervisor called her over. Emma Davis, he said, looking at a clipboard. She nodded, nervous. You've been moved to VIP floor maintenance. Starts tomorrow. Better pay, less mess. Her eyes widened. Sir, are you sure? I didn't apply, it's been approved, he cut in. Congratulations. She bowed slightly. Thank you, sir. The moment she walked away, whispers began. VIP floor for her. Did she charm someone? She must know someone high up. Emma heard it all but said nothing. She had no idea why her life was shifting, but deep down, she felt a quiet joy. She shared the news with Olivia later that evening, and her little sister hugged her tightly. See, good things can happen. Meanwhile, Ethan continued observing from the shadows. He visited the hotel more often now, always in disguise. He watched her kindness, her quiet strength, the way she treated every guest like royalty even though no one ever treated her that way. He admired her deeply but still hadn't spoken to her properly. That same evening, Vanessa received a strange envelope at her office. Inside was a photograph, grainy but clear. It showed her car splashing mud on Emma. A sticky note was attached. Not everyone forgets. Vanessa's eyes narrowed. What kind of sick joke is this? She tore the note and threw it away, but something in her chest tightened. For the first time, she didn't feel untouchable. Back at the hotel, Emma found another note in her locker. Keep shining. The world sees you, even if people pretend not to. She stared at it, puzzled but moved. She didn't know who was behind the gifts, but something was happening, and deep inside, she hoped it was something good. Emma stepped carefully onto the VIP floor for the first time. The air smelled different, fresh flowers, expensive polish. The carpets were softer, the walls quieter. She walked with her head low, trying not to draw attention, but her walk was flawless. Every corner sparkled under her care. One guest watched her quietly from a nearby lounge chair. It was Ethan again, in casual clothes, hidden behind sunglasses and a newspaper. He observed how she walked, how she smiled politely even to those who ignored her. He finally stood and approached. "Excuse me," he said, "do you know where the Sky Lounge is?" Emma turned and smiled gently. "Yes, sir, I'll walk you there." As they moved, he asked, "How long have you worked here?" "Almost 2 years," she replied. "It's been tough, but it pays the bills." He nodded. "Do you enjoy it?" She hesitated. "I don't know if anyone dreams of mopping floors, but I'm thankful. I will try to do my best." He stopped walking. "You do more than that," he said softly. "You shine." Emma gave a small laugh. "Thanks, I think." Ethan didn't reveal who he really was, he just watched her walk away, still smiling. Later that day, Vanessa sat across from her father in a high-end restaurant, her frustration barely hidden behind her flawless makeup. "Someone's targeting me," she said, swirling her wine without drinking. "First that photo, now people are whispering online. It's like there's a campaign against me." Her father looked calm as he sipped his drink. "Or maybe," he said, "someone's just holding up a mirror." Vanessa's jaw tightened. "Please, I haven't done anything wrong." But deep down, part of her knew somewhere in her past she had stepped on people without looking back. At the hotel, Emma found a small bouquet in her locker. No note, just flowers. She stared at them, confused yet deeply moved. Someone was watching her, but not to harm her, to help her. The more Emma rose, the more attention she drew. Some staff whispered in admiration, but others grew cold. Tina, a senior cleaner who'd worked at the hotel for 6 years, wasn't happy. "She just got here and is already on the VIP floor. Must be doing something behind the scenes," she muttered to the others. Emma noticed the stares and silence whenever she entered a room. She tried to ignore it and kept doing her job with excellence. That day, Ethan returned to the hotel again. This time, he asked for Emma's section specifically, claiming he trusted her touch. She was called to clean a private lounge. When she walked in, Ethan was sitting there. "No cleaning needed," he said kindly. "Just wanted to say thank you for your kindness the other day." Emma smiled politely. "I was just doing my job, sir." He looked at her for a moment, then asked, "If you could do anything, what would it be?" Emma paused. "I'd study hospitality management, maybe manage a place like this someday. But school costs money, and right now, life's about survival." Ethan nodded, storing every word. Later that night, Tina snuck into the supply room and switched Emma's cleaning solution with something slippery. The next morning, a guest slipped in the lobby. "Who cleaned here last?" the manager shouted. Emma was blamed. She was called into the office and warned. "I swear I didn't do anything wrong," she said, her voice shaking. But no one listened except one person, Ethan. He requested the hotel's CCTV footage be reviewed. What it showed shocked everyone. Tina had clearly swapped the chemicals. The manager apologized. "Emma, I'm sorry. You're cleared." She left the office in tears, relieved but shaken. From a distance, Ethan watched. "She doesn't even know I saved her," he thought, "but I will one day." Vanessa scrolled through her social media and frowned. There it was, a blurry photo of her SUV with the caption, "Some people think money erases manners." It had been reposted hundreds of times, and though her face wasn't visible, people were connecting the dots. "Who's spreading this nonsense?" she snapped at her assistant. Casey hesitated. "Maybe you should apologize." Vanessa laughed bitterly. "To a street cleaner? I don't even remember her face." But her confidence had cracks now. Back at the hotel, Emma's name was cleared. The managers now greeted her with nods, some staff even offered warm smiles. Tina was suspended for 2 weeks, and while Emma held no grudge, she kept her distance. That afternoon, Ethan returned, not in disguise this time. He walked up to Emma while she arranged flowers in the lobby. "You again," she said with a playful smile. "You really like this hotel." "I like seeing things grow," he replied, his gaze steady. Emma tilted her head. "You're not just a guest, are you?" He chuckled. "You're smart." He extended a hand. "Ethan Cole, owner of Cole Estates. I'm part of the group that oversees this hotel." Emma froze. You're Ethan Cole, the billionaire." "I'm just Ethan," he said gently. "And I've been watching." Not in a creepy way, he added quickly, grinning. Emma laughed nervously. "I saw what happened to you that day, the car, the mud, and how you kept walking." Her smile faded slightly. "You didn't deserve that," he continued, "and I couldn't forget it." She looked at him, unsure what to say. "You don't have to say anything," Ethan added. "Just know I see you." Later that night, Emma walked home quietly, her heart racing. Not from fear, but from hope. For the first time in a long time, someone powerful saw her and treated her like she mattered. Emma couldn't sleep that night. Ethan Cole, the Ethan Cole, had spoken to her like an equal, not like a boss, not like a rich man, but like someone who truly saw her heart. She wanted to believe it was real, but part of her feared it was all just kindness that would disappear with time. The next day, as she walked to work, a car slowed beside her. She looked up and froze. It was Vanessa. She rolled down the window and gave a thin smile. "You're Emma, right?" Emma stepped back slowly. "Yes." "You've caused quite a stir," Vanessa said, sunglasses hiding her eyes. "Now people think I'm some villain." Emma's brows furrowed. "I didn't do anything." Vanessa leaned closer. "You didn't have to. Playing the victim works wonders." "I never wanted pity," Emma said firmly. "I just wanted to walk in peace." Vanessa laughed. "You think Ethan sees you? He's like all rich men, he'll get bored. Don't let attention fool you, sweetie." Then she drove off. Emma stood there, shaken but not broken. At the hotel, Ethan waited in the cafe. He had prepared something special. When Emma walked in later during her break, he waved her over. "What's this?" she asked, seeing a folder on the table. "A scholarship," he said. "Full hospitality training, paid for. Starts next month. You'd still work here part-time if you want." Emma's hands trembled. "Why me?" "Because you never asked for anything," he said softly, "but you deserve everything." Tears filled her eyes. At that moment, Vanessa watched from a distance, unseen. The mud she splashed wasn't just water, it had started something unstoppable. And now, the girl she mocked was rising higher than she ever imagined. Emma sat on the rooftop garden of the hotel, holding the scholarship letter in her hands. The city lights twinkled below her, but her heart was brighter. She thought of her late mother and the struggles that led her here, all the nights she cried silently, all the days she walked through pain. It all felt worth it now. Ethan joined her, 2 cups of hot cocoa in hand. "You're quiet," he said, offering one. "I'm just overwhelmed," she replied. "Is this really happening?" He nodded. "You earned this, Emma. Every piece of it." She smiled gently. "I used to think people like you didn't see people like me." "I didn't always," Ethan admitted. "But watching you reminded me of my own mother." She was a cleaner too, raised me alone, never complained. You have that same strength. Emma looked at him in surprise. You never talk about her. Because people expect me to act like I built myself alone, he said. But the truth is, women like you are the ones who build everything. The next day, the hotel announced Emma's scholarship during their monthly staff meeting. A small standing ovation followed. Even those who once whispered now clapped. Emma's quiet strength had earned respect. But not everyone was clapping. Vanessa stormed into her father's office, heels clicking against the marble floor. Her designer outfit was flawless, but her face was tight with frustration. Why is everyone talking about her? She snapped. She's just a cleaner. Ethan barely looked at me for years, and now he's handing her scholarships like she's royalty. Her father looked up slowly, setting his pen down. His tone was calm but cutting. Because she earned it, Vanessa. The respect, the recognition, all of it. And you? He paused, meeting her eyes. You still have a lot of growing up to do. For the first time, Vanessa had nothing to say. That evening, Ethan walked Emma home under the soft streetlights. The road was quiet, and they talked and laughed gently as they walked side by side. When they reached her building, the front door opened with a creak. A little girl stepped out with a big smile. Olivia, Emma said happily. Why are you out here? I heard you laughing, Olivia said, running into her sister's arms. Then she looked up at Ethan. Is he your friend? Ethan bent down a little and smiled. Hi, Olivia. I've heard a lot about you. Emma held her sister close. She's my everything, she said softly. Ethan looked at them, two sisters standing strong together. It touched something deep inside him. After a while, Olivia went back inside, and Emma walked Ethan to the gate. They stood there in the soft light. Ethan looked at her with a quiet smile. Emma, he said, this all started with mud, but maybe it ends with something beautiful. Emma's heart beat faster. She looked up at him, her eyes full of feeling. Maybe, she whispered, it's just the beginning. Emma's story began to spread beyond the hotel. A local blog picked it up, From Mud to Merit, the cleaner who inspired a billionaire. It went viral overnight. People left comments like, this is what kindness looks like. She deserves the world, and, finally, a real Cinderella story. Emma was shocked. She hadn't asked for fame, only a chance. But now, people everywhere were watching her journey. At the hotel, she carried herself with more confidence. Her steps were still quiet, but they were sure. She'd started evening classes and was already impressing her lecturers. Ethan visited often, always offering support from a respectful distance. But everyone could see it now, he was falling for her. Vanessa couldn't stand it. She paid a shady blogger to post fake news that Emma was dating Ethan for his money, that she planned it all from the beginning. The article spread like fire. Emma saw it during her lunch break and felt her heart sink. Staff began whispering again, a few even gave her cold looks. She packed her things and left early, but Ethan wasn't silent this time. He called a press meeting the next day. Standing in front of flashing cameras, he said clearly, Emma Davis is not a gold digger. She is the most hardworking, honest woman I've ever met. Anyone who believes otherwise should question what they value, money or heart. The crowd clapped. Emma, watching from her tiny apartment, covered her mouth, stunned. Later that evening, a delivery arrived at her door, a single red rose and a note, let the world whisper. I'll always speak your truth. Ethan. Tears welled up in her eyes. She wasn't just being seen, she was being chosen. The scholarship, the promotion, the public support, it all felt like a dream Emma never dared to dream. But with every passing day, it became her new reality. At school, she was thriving. Her teachers praised her discipline and drive. At work, the hotel manager began asking for her ideas. She was no longer just the cleaner, she was someone whose voice mattered. Meanwhile, Vanessa's world crumbled. The fake blog post was traced back to her. Her father was furious. "You didn't just hurt her, you embarrassed us all." He froze her account and suspended her from the company's board. "Maybe when you learn respect, we'll talk," he said coldly. Vanessa stood speechless. No credit cards, no personal assistant, no designer gifts, just silence. Back at the hotel, Ethan invited Emma for dinner, not as a boss, not as a sponsor, but as a man who admired her heart. He picked her up himself in a modest car this time, no guards or drivers. They ate on the rooftop of a quiet bistro overlooking the city. "You changed me, Emma," he said. "You reminded me of what matters." Emma looked down, blushing. "I still don't know why you picked me." Ethan reached across the table. "Because in a world full of noise, your silence spoke the loudest. And I heard you." They sat in peace, the kind that doesn't need music to feel magical. As they walked home hand in hand, Ethan stopped at the spot where it all began. "This was where she splashed you," he said. "But look at you now." Emma smiled. "She splashed mud on me, but you planted a seed." He nodded. "And now you're blooming." Neither of them said more. The night didn't need more words, because love, when real, speaks best in quiet moments. 1 year later, Crownsville Towers held a special gala to celebrate its 20th anniversary. The ballroom glowed with chandeliers, live music played softly, and the entire city's elite attended. Emma walked in wearing a simple sky blue gown. She didn't have diamonds or a designer label, but she didn't need them. Her posture, her grace, and her smile were enough. Guests turned to look, some whispered, some clapped softly. She wasn't a cleaner tonight, she was the guest of honor. Ethan stood beside her, beaming with pride. He hadn't proposed yet, but everyone could see it in his eyes. He was hers completely. Emma was called on stage. The hotel director handed her a plaque for strength, humility, and the spirit that lifted us all. She took a deep breath and stepped up to the mic. "A year ago, I was just a girl walking to work in worn-out shoes and mud on my clothes. I was invisible until one act of cruelty and one act of kindness changed my life." The room fell silent. "I don't stand here because I'm lucky. I stand here because I kept going, because someone believed in me before I could believe in myself." She looked over at Ethan. "And because kindness is louder than status." Tears sparkled in a few eyes. Even the hotel staff at the back stood straighter. Later that night, as the gala ended, Emma returned to the spot where the journey began, where the SUV splashed mud on her. The road had been repaved, smooth and clean. She took off her heels and walked barefoot across it. Ethan watched, smiling. "What are you doing?" he asked. Emma paused, looking down at the place that had once humiliated her. "Leaving the last trace of who I used to be," she said, "and stepping fully into who I am now." Without a word, Ethan took off his shoes and joined her. Barefoot, beside her, equal, proud. Together, they walked forward slowly, silently. Not just as two people in love, but as something more, proof that even when life throws mud, a flower can bloom. And sometimes, it blooms so brightly the whole world stops to notice. The end. If you love this story, make sure to like the video and subscribe to my channel for more captivating stories like this.